If you're planning to retire early or you are already retired, this question sits quietly in the back of your mind. How do I draw income without running out? Not just for 20 years, but for 30, 40, sometimes even 50 years. And what I want to show you today is this. There are two answers to that question: the financial theory answer and the real life early retirement answer. And they are very different. Most South Africans are taught rules, percentages, withdrawal rates, but early retirement doesn't happen on a spreadsheet. It happens in real life with markets, emotions, health, taxes, and uncertainty. Today I'm going to show you the only withdrawal strategy that actually works for early retirement and why fixed rules fail the moment you stop earning a salary too soon. For those of you who are new here, my name is Hardi Swart. I'm a certified financial planner and managing director at Family Wealth Custodians. For nearly 2 decades, I've helped South Africans who retire earlier than planned or want the option to, helping them to turn accumulated capital into sustainable, tax-efficient income. And I can tell you this with certainty. Early retirement doesn't fail because of markets. It fails because of rigid withdrawal strategies. Before we continue, if you find practical, real-world retirement planning helpful, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join our retirement community using the link in the description below. Everything we share here is designed to help South Africans retire with clarity, flexibility, and confidence. But also remember, this video is for educational purposes only, and it does not constitute personal financial advice. I want you to think about withdrawing income in early retirement like managing water from a dam during a long drought cycle. For those of you who lived in the Western Cape during the Day Zero crisis in 2018, this will feel very real. Some years, the rains are good. The dam is full, water flows easily. Other years, rainfall is scarce. Dam levels drop and restrictions are put in place. When the dam is full, you can use water more freely. Crops are irrigated, normal usage is allowed. But when levels fall, water restrictions are introduced. Usage is reduced, and the priority becomes protecting the supply. Early retirement works exactly the same way. Your capital is the dam. Markets and investment returns are the rainfall. But most early retirees ignore this reality. They decide, I need, for instance, 60,000 Rand a month. And then they withdraw that amount when markets are strong, when markets are weak, even during severe market downturns. That approach assumes that dams will always refill on schedule. But over a 30 to 40 year early retirement, that assumption is the single most dangerous mistake you can make. Early retirement is different. You're not planning for 20 to 25 years. You're planning for 30 to even 40 years or longer. That changes everything. Market volatility matters more. Sequence of returns risks matters more. Tax mistakes compound longer. A fixed withdrawal strategy assumes the following: smooth returns, stable tax rules, and predictable spending. None of those exist in real life. At Family Wealth, when markets do well, I often tell clients you should actually spend more because you're healthy now. These are your active or go-go years, and most of the time clients will tell me they don't want to die with unused money. But when markets struggle, I'm equally clear. This is not the time to overspend. Don't panic and don't make permanent cuts. Just temporarily apply discipline. And here's what surprises people. A small spending adjustment for just 6 to 12 months can easily mean hundreds of thousands of rands over a lifetime. Let me give you a real life example. A client of mine, let's call her Tanya, came to us in early 2020, just before the COVID market crash, wanting to retire at the age of 55. She was the CEO of a large company, highly capable, highly compensated, but she was also exhausted. Burnout for her wasn't a future risk, it was already her reality. She wanted to step away while she still had her health. The challenge was this: Tanya was used to a very large monthly salary. Replicating that lifestyle retirement would have pushed her withdrawal rate to close to 5%. From a planning perspective, that was too high for an early retirement. So we didn't rush the decision. We planned flexibility into strategy from day one. Then COVID-19 hit. Markets fell sharply. Instead of panicking or freezing, we adjusted short-term income expectations, used tax opportunities created by lower market values, and strengthened the long-term sustainability of her plan. When markets eventually recovered, something important happened. Her retirement position was stronger than before she retired. Today, the conversation has completely changed. It's no longer, am I going to run out of money? It's now all about, how do I give myself permission to spend more without being irresponsible? That is what the right withdrawal strategy does in early retirement. You've probably heard of the 4% rule. Here's the thing, it was never designed for early retirement, South African tax rules, or long life expectancies. Most importantly, it ignores behavior. Early retirees don't spend the same every year, and they shouldn't. 4% before tax is not the same as 4% after tax. If most of your capital sits in retirement annuities, pension funds, or provident funds, then tax alone can push a safe withdrawal rate into dangerous territory. Here's the core idea. Early retirement requires a dynamic withdrawal strategy combined with a clear guardrail system. In plain language, you spend when markets are doing well, you spend less when markets are under pressure, and you always operate within a predefined guardrail system. No guessing, no emotional reactions, just planning. At Family Wealth, we formalize this approach into what we call the dynamic retirement income plan. Instead of treating retirement as a long, flat line, we break it into 3 distinct phases. The go-go years. These are your early retirement years. You're healthy, active, and mobile. Spending is typically higher during this period. Travel, experiences, hobbies, and families. The next is the slow-go years. Life naturally starts to slow down. Travel becomes more selective, and spending becomes moderate, often without effort. And then finally, we have the final phase, or the no-go years. These are the later years of retirement. Spending is usually lower, and the focus shifts to comfort, care, and security. Built into this structure is a guardrail system. That means clear upper and lower spending limits, adjustments based on market conditions, and protection against overspending in bad years, and also permission to enjoy more in the good years. This approach reduces sequence of returns risks, allows for higher lifetime income, and adapts to how people actually live. Here's the thing, there's no fixed percentage that survives a 30 to 40-year retirement. Flexibility isn't a nice to have, flexibility is the core strategy. In theory, retirement income flows in a fairly logical order. Pre-tax retirement funds like your living annuity, which typically forms the core of your income. Cash and money market funds, mainly for short-term needs or emergencies. Discretionary investments such as unit trust or share portfolios to supplement income when appropriate. And then tax reinvestments, which are normally used best for last or the later phase of retirement. But real life is messier than theory, because in practice, tax efficiency matters, capital gains matter, and market opportunities matter. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you have an offshore share portfolio invested in companies like Tesla, Nvidia, and Apple. Over the past 5 years, those investments have delivered exceptional performance. In a year like that, it might make sense to take some profits, rebalance your portfolio, and use part of those gains to fund income. And in doing so, you can reduce how much you draw from your living annuity for that specific year. That does 2 important things. First of all, it improves your tax efficiency, and secondly, it protects your long-term retirement capital. That's exactly why rules alone don't work. The right withdrawal strategy looks at what returns come from where, what tax you'll pay, and what makes sense this year. That's why planning always beats rules. Most of our early retirement clients keep between 12 and 36 months of spending in liquid, low-risk assets. This allows income stability, better investment decisions, and less emotional stress. Every year, we reassess where income comes from next. That single annual decision often adds more value than chasing returns. Over a 40-year retirement, small tax mistakes compound, efficient sequencing compound, and smart withdrawal strategies include the following: reduces lifetime tax, increases sustainable income, and improves estate outcomes. This is where professional advice earns its keep. We have done multiple videos on tax planning and retirement, and we've shared some of those links in the description below. If you remember one thing from this video, early retirement does not work with fixed rules. It works with a dynamic withdrawal strategy. Flexibility isn't a nice to have, it's the only strategy that survives early retirement. If this video helped you, like it, comment below, and subscribe for more South African retirement planning content. Then you can book a complimentary exploration call with one of our professional team members. We might be able to help you build that plan. We'd love to hear about your feelings about early retirement, so please give us a comment below. Thanks for watching. I'm Hardi Swart. This is Family Wealth. Keep investing into your future.